I don't know about you, but for me, timber framing has always been the pinnacle. When I think of carpentry and risk and reward and fitting and measurements and just cool, timber framing's it. And right here at Matt Lovemark's headquarters of Pacific Rim Timber Works is where timber framing happens in Douglas County. He's got a cool project going. You are going to eventually get to see it erected, which is really its own skill set. You're going to see the processes and the practices, and you're going to learn about the mental state of timber framing. And be sure to keep an eye out for the next video in this segment, which is a long-form interview about how Matt came to this skill set and what it is that drives and fulfills him as he timber frames his way around this part of the West Coast. Matt, nice to see you.
Good to see you,
Thanks
Scott.
for having us down here.
Yeah, thanks for coming out.
You know, the last time I saw you, you were repairing Ken Jordan's shop.
That's true, yeah.
I'll shake your hand again. You did a fine job on that. You and Eric did a fine job. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. One of the first things that I, and perhaps everybody watching this is interested in, is what's the reality of hewing a piece of wood? And these poor souls, Randy included, who's as old as I am, is having to hew a piece of white oak sideways. Sideways. Man, that's painful. So what are you building here? What are this going to be used on? What are we thinking of as we watch these guys hacking away at these pieces of oak?
Yeah, so these are some local white oak timbers, and they are going to be tie beams for pavilion structure for the Glide Education Force.
Hybrid with sawn beams.
Yeah, they're the white oak are sawn two faces to maintain the natural edge.
Okay.
And the sawn beams are going to be dug for
sawn all four sides.
Yep.
All right, so this I recognize. I've cut a lot of firewood out of white oak and some lumber. The bugs like to lay their eggs in the bark, is that right?
Correct, yeah.
Okay. And then the eggs hatch, and what happens next?
Well, in some cases, it's just it's a one-time deal.
Oh.
Right. They do a life cycle under the bark, hatch out, and find a new tree.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
But in some cases, they stay there and go deeper and deeper?
Yeah, like a powder post beetle.
Oh, okay.
Perhaps.
All right. And it will actually shorten the service life of the beam, right? They over time weaken the beam in place.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's so one of the functions of the hewing is to get rid of the sap.
Okay.
And so we want to maintain the shape because we're using the natural arch as both strength and point of interest.
Okay. Oh, the arch as in arch in a bridge, as in...
Correct, yeah. When you have something in an arch, it's a lot stronger for this dead load that's coming in on this tie beam.
Yeah, pre-stressed.
And so, the main focus of the hewing is to give it a decorative finish and to remove the sap. Okay. So there's less groceries for pest. Okay.
So this is not something that is ordinarily thought of as a saw log. This is not a straight log. This is not a big log. How old is this log? Why did this appeal to you? Because of the arch, didn't it?
Yeah. Okay. The arch, the rot resistance of white oak, and the visuals of it.
The visuals.
Yeah, they're quite pretty logs.
They're beautiful.
And using these kinds of pieces in a timber frame allows you to use pieces that are not fit for the mill.
Sure.
These are. I mean, I'm competing with firewood cutters.
That's right.
For these, so. But they're quite a stunning showpiece.
So it's
used right.
essentially worth firewood price until all of this labor is put into it and it's put in place, and then it becomes it's value-added process.
Correct. Yeah.
Cool. Very cool. Show us what these guys are doing. So they're hewing this. They're not hewing it into a beam per se, like we think of, the Germans carefully hewing the side and trying not to leave any axe marks.
Oh yeah.
What are they trying? We talked about getting rid of the sap. Is there an aesthetic sense to what they're doing also, or are they just chopping off the sap?
Yeah, part of the aesthetic sense is that when it's done nicely, there's a rhythmic pattern you can see. You can even, you could identify a hewer by his pattern.
Okay.
So you can see that pattern and the scalloping and every axe stroke, and so it's a nice look.
So is it an initial pass and then come through and refine? Is that kind of how that works?
Yeah. So this log just had an initial pass, and it'll get a fine tune as well.
Yes. I see you leaning on something there that doesn't even look like a tool to me. What is that?
It's a chona, which is just a Japanese version of an adze.
Okay.
And it's a really useful tool for, like, say, this 45-degree angle
Right.
here.
Yes.
It can just provide a chamfer
Okay.
quite quickly.
Interesting.
And it's a way to get rid of these sharp edges as well as additional sap.
Yeah. And get closer to that aesthetic.
Yeah, and it's flexible.
I see that.
Unlike
It's
an
got
American
built-in
ad.
spring. Yeah.
Yeah, and this was just like a piece of steam bent acacia. But yeah, the spring allows it to scallop.
Oh, I see. It'll go in and kind of flex itself
Yeah.
back out.
Yeah, and this was quite hard and dry.
Sure.
But like on a softwood, that scallop will be more defined.
Yeah. A chona. Cool. So in just a second, we're going to go in and see a much more finished product with the actual fit beginning to be established. But Matt just pointed out that the log we were just looking at is being dealt with in a Japanese style, and these guys are doing a European style with European style tools. I've never seen a handle like this, but I should have known it would have come from Randy Bailey. How long ago did we meet each other?
30.
30 years. Both from Glide, both recovering. Can I say that?
Sure.
Okay, all right. This guy has built some of the coolest log structures in Douglas County. He does a lot of other good things too, but where did this brainchild come from?
That is a bent limb off of an ash, white ash.
No kidding. Got the thumb rest right there.
Yeah, well, actually it's right there. Yeah. So you don't cut your finger or your thumb, lash it against the log.
Cool. But this is a standard sort of European colonial America broad axe pattern, right?
Yeah.
All right, and that's what you guys, the type of thing you're using here.
Yep.
All
Kind
right.
of difficult on this log because you're kind of used to flat surface. It's
Yeah.
creating flat surface.
You're creating a flat surface up in the air. You're not
Yeah.
down on the ground, you're up
right.
in the air.
Yeah. It'd be worse if it was on the ground.
Yeah.
At least
Cool.
for me.
That's a beautiful handle, man.
Yeah, thanks.
All right, so this is Roger Lee, also a Douglas County resident, also in this sort of work business and Greenwood furniture and stuff.
Yeah, spoons, treenware, that kind of thing, yeah.
Gosh, crafty bunch of guys. Talk to us about your perspective on these tools since you were the man using them.
Right, so this is my broad axe here. It's a European English Kent pattern. You can see it's a single bevel, flat on one side, where it's a little bit of a misconception. It's not actually flat. It's lower on either end and higher in the center.
Oh,
Like we were talking about earlier, scalloping, that's what that does, is that center will actually pop that scallop out where these lower edges get you into the wood first. So it's a nice slice, then a pop, so you get that scallop out of there.
how old is that axe? Any idea?
So I'm thinking, when I was doing the research, I couldn't find the gentleman. He left his maker's mark on
Yes,
here.
yeah.
But it's from the East Coast, and it was certainly blacksmith made, because you can
Yeah.
still see hammer marks.
Yeah, and I saw a weld line on the backside, I
Exactly.
think.
Yeah, so right through
Yeah,
here.
right through there is essentially a Hamon line.
Yeah, so they sandwiched a milder steel against this harder steel.
Yep.
So that holds your edge.
This is quite possibly wrought iron, actually.
Right, it
Yeah,
very well
yeah,
could be.
Yeah.
But yeah, found this, restored it, blued it, and hung it. with a
Beautiful.
Local piece of white oak I found floating in the river.
Uh-huh.
And it has a natural bend to it. And like we were saying earlier, this is to keep you from racking your knuckles against
Yeah.
the timber as you're working. So I've really grown to love this thing. It's not as large as something that Randy might have
But it's
had.
just right.
Just right.
just right.
Particularly for someone my
Yeah,
size.
yeah.
And this is the other one. This is a smaller Swedish Gränsfors Brooks carving axe. Now, when I'm doing
And Gränsfors Brooks still makes axes, by the way.
Absolutely.
Like 360 years or something they've been doing that.
right, and they make some of the finest axes in the world.
Yeah.
Love that thing.
Yeah, that's a handy tool.
And it too is it's a very similar like a broad axe. Like it has a flatter side, but it's actually concave here. And I use this a lot for my trainware. So when I'm carving spoons or bowls, this is what I'm doing my rough hewing out of.
Chop, 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 chop. So, in yon call-up, what species do you make your greenware out of?
I'm using a lot of fruit woods because I
Oh,
have
yeah.
access to a lot of apple.
Uh-huh.
So I'm using apple, some vine maple I've gotten recently a hold of, pear, that kind of thing, even some madrone.
So I don't mind saying that I'm pretty excited to be getting a look at this process in person right here today. And if you would like to learn about timber framing from Matt Lovemark, his website has all the details on a hands-on workshop coming up on a fantastic build right here in Southern Oregon. All right, so we're in the shop. I love how cool and shady it is in your beautiful shop, man. This is better, right?
It's nicer than out there.
Those poor guys. Okay, can we just admit they've got it? Anyway, so these have been hewn, but this face has not been hewn. How did these parallel faces get parallel and flat and straight before we talk about the finish here? What went on here?
Yeah, so these logs were cut with a bandsaw mill.
Oh, a local mill?
Yeah, a local guy, Harvey Saul.
Harvey Saul's. I've used backwoods milling 5 or 6 times.
Yeah,
cool.
Yeah, he does our milling.
Okay.
Yeah, typically what we do is if we have a product we're looking for, we'll set it up in the log yard.
Yes.
And we'll have him come out and just give him a cut list and
do what you want.
Yeah,
what you need him to do.
Yeah, you know, like a week of milling, he could produce all the wood we need for a year.
For a year.
So
that's right. He knows how to run that thing. So these are now in their finished state. I see snap lines, you're getting center lines. We got to talk about that. And they are either joined or ready to join to those Doug fir posts. How do you tell when your hewing is done?
It's just a personal choice.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, when it's clean enough for the project you're on, the patterns are developed. There's not big chunks hanging off that are going to catch something.
Right. But it's still live edge.
Yeah,
it's
still live
very
edge.
much a live edge.
Yeah.
Because there's a very elegant contrast between this live edge, hand-worked, radically checked piece of white oak joining into that clear vertical grain, perfect fir. Okay, so I know what the bandsaw texture looks like after his wood miser gets through with it. And it's nice. But this is the beast that takes it down to actually a cut, finished face, right?
Correct. Yeah.
What do you even call this thing?
It's just a beam planer.
Just a
or
beam
a
planer.
12-inch planer.
A 12-inch. Can I rock this up and look at the bottom of that?
Yeah.
Or your fingers begin to disappear if you're not paying attention?
It's unplugged.
Oh, good. Look at that, my friend. That 2 knives in there, I assume?
3 knives.
3 knives. Wow. Wow. And Makita's the way to go, not just because it's a Japanese product?
No, I mean, Mafel makes excellent tools
Mafel?
as well.
Never heard of them.
Yeah, they're a German company.
Okay.
Makita and Mafel are the 2 bigger companies when it comes to timber framing tools.
Gosh, okay. Okay, we have 2 radically different beams here. This is a tie beam, you said?
Correct, yeah.
Tying the 2 bents together, kind of at a gable end and mid-span?
Yeah, basically, this is the main member of the bent.
Okay.
And so the tie beam with the 2 posts and the braces make up the bent.
All right. Radically different structural members here. White oak, big, heart center, live edge, highly finished, clear vertical grain Douglas fir 8x8, glorious, free of heart. Talk to us about these layout marks and what's your next move and what are the stakes as you begin to cut into these things? I mean, what is the possible downside of not getting this move right?
Well, so with the joinery we're doing here, where the purlin posts have to be scribed as well as the knee braces, the first thing to do was to cut the tie beam. And cutting the tie beam and the adjoining post. So what occurs in here is you have a 1-inch let-in, and you have
This whole thing sets in 1 inch?
Correct.
Okay.
And then you have a 5-inch tenon.
5-inch tenon. It daylights out the back or blind?
Does not. It's blind. In this case, in case this oak, as it dries, has any twisting forces, we wanted to leave a strap of wood unbroken on the back.
Okay, so let me go through this again. The whole thing goes in 1 inch, and then the tenon goes in 5 more inches, so you've got about 1 inch of coverage over here.
Yeah, roughly 1.5 inches. Yeah.
Okay, all right. Doweled, trunneled?
Yes, three white oak pegs.
Okay, all right. All right, keep talking. How is this I mean, the blue line daylights out the bottom of the beam and then centers on that other side, yes?
Yeah, and so in this apparatus, the first challenge is taking this curved beam and creating both plumb and horizontal reference lines.
Boom.
We gain our reference lines by, in this case, we're using like a siding stick and a level. So we put the beam in a level position, find center, find a level plane, reference it up to the other side and make sure they're even. And then we're using strings to do that. And that's something we could show.
Good.
But it's difficult to explain, I suppose.
Yes.
Yes.
So this is what you're treating as the average center of your beam. of,
Yeah.
of the tie beam.
This is close. The reference line I'm actually using is right here. It's the bottom of the beam, which is the bearing surface. This is a 4-inch offset from the bottom.
Bottom of the beam to that line.
Yep.
And that line coincides with daylight there in the middle of the arch. More or less.
Yeah, and this is essentially, if we were to do off of the bottom, we would basically have no line to work.
Okay.
So, and you can see here where we've lost our reference line, I've done another 2-inch offset.
I see.
And that's just so we have a horizontal line to reference our vertical layout off of.
Got it. So Matt just casually mentioned that this mortise and tenon is cut. I was thinking that it was but he's already done that. And he also said we can pull it apart. You actually don't mind?
No, I don't mind, yeah.
I mean, this is throwing away some, oh, well, I don't care. Let's see it.
It's all the reference lines that we need are on there.
Okay, so I want to see this mortise come off of this tenon and just get a look at that.
Yeah, and Eric, if you want to push like a little bit this way, and I'll just give it a few whacks.
Oh, man.
See if it'll wiggle off of there.
Oh, my friends. Turn that up. We got to stare down into the beauty of that mortise. So this is a Japanese 2-step kind of a thing?
It's just, so this is a housing.
Housing,
and
okay.
This basically carries the majority of the weight.
Okay.
And the tenon also carries some weight,
Yes.
but it's mostly an anti-twist.
Yes.
And the tension of the pegs holding it together. So
Yes.
So this is your weight bearing surface, and this is your anti-twist, as well as.
Okay, that is a very sweet
tension.
smelling lubrication on there. What is that?
It's a product made by a company out of Corvallis called Heritage Natural Finish,
It's just a finish.
and it's their end sealer beeswax.
Okay. So you've sealed the end of these logs with latex paint, yes? That's not anchor sealed. That's
Correct.
just paint.
Yeah,
Cheap
it's just
throwaway paint.
Leftover paint. Yeah.
Reduces the moisture blowing out of the end of the log, reducing the checking.
Yep.
Okay. Cool. It's so beautiful. So under the broad general category of sustainability, these beautiful pieces of Douglas fir were salvaged by Matt off of the Archie Creek fire, which was 130,000 acres that burned up right here in my neighborhood 5 years ago. We were finishing up the spec house. It burned up my stomping grounds. And the logs that this came out of, the log that this came out of was essentially out of my backyard when I grew up Rock Creek and ran all over those hills. And I am never going back. I want to remember that country the way I remember it, not the way it is now. So speaking for myself, the mystique of timber frame always boils down to how do you lay out those cuts? How do you figure the cuts for the tenon, the cuts for the mortise, especially off an irregular beam? Matt, explain to us this 2-string method. Give us a hip shot thumbnail sketch of a very complex, or at least what appears to be a complex process.
Yeah. So the beginning of, because this log is irregular shaped and may even have some crooks this way, irregularities. Like we're not trusting these faces to be square and true. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to find our center line of our log in a vertical orientation. And I use these reference sticks. They're similar to a winding stick, but I'm also using them for layout as basically a way to attach strings. And so I'm going to put my log into the plane I want it. I'm going to put my first stick into the plane I want it. This can be done using level if you're on a level surface. In the shop here, we have the benefit of a level surface. But if you were on unlevel ground and your horses were going downhill, this can also be done just by sighting. So I can sight this edge of this stick. Now, granted that our stick is perfectly straight. Both sticks are perfectly straight. I can sight these to the disappearing point of this edge on the opposite edge.
Cross-sighting.
Cross-sighting.
You can tell a door jamb arrangement. There's so many things you can do with cross-sighting.
It's actually more accurate than using even a fancy Stabila level.
Yeah.
And I've seen it be accurate within a 30-second over 20 feet.
Yeah.
So, So that's a benefit of using the sticks.
So let's pause there for a second. That illustrates something about learning to trust our eyes, right? Our ability to see symmetric and judge distances.
Yeah.
That's got to be key in timber frame, to learn to calibrate your eye and trust it. Is that right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, in all building, I think.
All building.
Learning to trust your eye. Yeah, and it's kind of fun. It's a fun thing to play with.
It is.
You can be like, okay, how good can I be with my eye?
That's right.
It's surprising,
It's
actually.
surprising. It's surprising.
And probably the more you mess with it, the more confidence you'll have.
It's
in
a
your
muscle,
eye.
right? You can
Yeah.
strengthen a muscle. Anyhow, go ahead. I interrupted you.
Oh, anyway, so yeah, we basically have two parallel strings, and you know, if this were an even surface, we could just have one string. But because it goes up and down, if we were to just use one string, we would have to make this projection that we're going straight plumb from the string line. But by using two and knowing that this is in plane, we can simply sight both strings, put a dot on. I typically do like several dots. And then I'll put, this is a Japanese framing square. It's called a sashigane.
Sashigane.
And it's really helpful for this round work because it's flexible.
Oh, it'll conform.
Yeah, so unlike a regular framing square, which
Yeah.
as you bend it, it gets out of plane and out
Yeah.
of shape, this can bend right into plane. And so we can kind of connect the dots with our sashigane, and then we can double check that with our line, you know, and just give it a sight. And you're using these essentially like, you know, maybe like a gun sight, or
Yeah.
like basically you're referencing the top one with the bottom one with the sashigane, and now you know you have a true line, a true plane.
That's exactly like a pistol sight. You
Yeah.
got about an 8-inch sighting, 7-inch sighting radius right there. Boom, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, and so the reason we set that up is now we have center line, and we now have our purlin post layout, and we've gone off of our reference line here, plumbed up, so we can go ahead and lay these purlin posts out that Eric's cut here, and now we have all the information we need.
Wow. This is more like
And-
surveying.
And it gets fun. What happens is you do this on the top, and you do this on the bottom. And maybe if you have to do it in the middle, you can do it in the middle. But there's a little bit of a kind of an unraveling process as you go around like a weird irregular shape. You check back in with yourself. So like sometimes you have to make a guess, like that. If you're going through a strange shape, you make a guess with your square.
Yes.
But then you check back in with it later to make
Okay.
sure that it's right. And so that's the process. So like for making these cuts, you know, these are fairly simple, but when you're going around this irregular surface, I'm using this line that we've created to reference this line, and I'm wrapping it around. And that's how we can map these on this strange surface to be accurate.
And then at some point, once the cut is underway, you begin to do this and have some more confidence in what you've actually
Yes,
done.
yeah. And that's,
And you kind of ease in on that, right? You sneak
Yeah.
up on it for the last fit.
yeah, and the more information you get, the better it becomes, and the more checks you can find. And so that's kind of the fun part, especially with this round stuff. It's like using a little bit of guesswork and then tying it back in.
It's fantastic. So I don't know about anybody else, but this scratches an itch for me. I've always thought, how would I approach taking something as subjective as a shape like that and turning it into something as specific as a shape like that you've got to carefully drive it off with a dead blow?
Yep. So with this post, even though it's squared, we're still using some centerline reference. This post has a little bit of curve to it and a slight bit of twist. Nothing.
And you determined that with with winder sticks or something?
I can just look at it. I can just kind of sight down it and see there's.
Yes, you can see it.
It's not perfect, right?
Yes.
But it's close enough that with this frame here, the majority of our joinery takes place in the first 4 feet. Now, knowing that our bottom is on a pin, it has some rotational.
Oh, yes.
So we can basically treat this chunk as if it's the most important chunk.
Okay.
So that's what we've done. We've created a center line that references the bottom of our joinery to the top of our joinery.
Brace.
And we've basically taken the measurements of this and imparted them to this. So,
And then once you get a mark, you know where you're at. It's just measure and square and chisel. chisel all the way to the bottom, or do you use a saw? Do you use electricity to push this down?
This was cut with a mortising machine.
Oh, yes.
Mortising machine.
Those are awesome. We'd like to
Yeah.
see that before we're done here today.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, then just chiseled,
Yeah.
clean, and then a router to cut the.
Oh, yeah.
letter.
Why not? So I had one of these beautiful Veritas scribes until I went to look for it the other day, and apparently it belongs to somebody else now. But these are especially useful for like log construction, right?
Correct.
I mean,
yeah.
for transferring just totally irregular shapes around and coping and all of those. You don't have a ton of reasons to use it on something like this.
Yes and no.
Yes and no.
As you get into more irregular shapes, the scribe can be a handy
Okay.
thing, and that kind of timber framing. There's several layout traditions. you
Okay,
know.
talk to us about layout traditions.
So the one I'm most familiar with in the Japanese style, almost everything's based off center line.
Okay.
So center line layout. About the time sawmills became popular and started producing regular timber, square rule became really popular in the United States.
Okay, John Sweet was telling me about that in Maine. The guy I visited in Maine, he does this, I mean Northeast, and he was bringing everything down to a uniform dimension at the intersection of the members regardless of what the sawmill did. Is that kind of it?
Yeah, so like say our 8x8, for example. This is not a perfect 8x8, but we know somewhere inside of this perfect 8x8, or in this irregular 8x8, there's a perfect 7 1/4 by 7 1/4. So that's kind of the basis of square rule.
That you actually reduce the member at the joint to that perfect dimension.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, and that's a lot of it's based off reference faces, and so that it's a way that multiple people can work on one frame
In different places.
simultaneously. Yep.
Okay.
And yeah, the guild actually, the Timber Framers Guild, has an interesting story. The first big community project they did, it was built by people from all over the country, and they built 2 homes, each timber framer or volunteer producing 2 parts, and it all came together with
Wow.
square rule.
Using
timber framing.
square rule.
Yeah, so
Wow.
it has that benefit, absolutely.
A head nod towards mass production.
Yeah.
Okay, so you said there were several. So we've got centerline, Japanese, square rule, a fairly modern adaptation. What else would?
So the other one is scribe rule.
Scribe
which,
rule.
A lot of the stuff in Europe was built with scribe rule.
Okay.
You have hewn timbers. You have a lot of irregularities. You have big buildings. You don't have complicated mathematics. We don't have computers to do shop drawings that can produce excellent drawings.
Right.
For like square rule, for example. So you basically, like in kind of what we're doing here, we're laying out the whole apparatus and then we're scribing it together.
Bringing it together, scribing
Yeah.
it, fitting it, and then working your way down through the structure.
If this were a scribe, like a purely scribe rule frame, this bent would be snapped on the floor and all these irregular timbers would be basically plumbed down to, and all the joints would be scribed.
Okay.
So something like this would become a lot more useful tool.
Something like this becomes vitally important.
Yeah.
And it doesn't even have to be this fancy. I mean,
Correct.
olden times, scribes,
Yeah, it could be a plumb bob.
it can be a plumb bob, it could be a piece of wood cut in a certain shape to gauge and offset. All of that is a similar thing.
Yeah. And in this frame, we're using a little bit of everything. We're
Okay.
using some square rule, we're using some scribe rule, and we're using centerline.
Fantastic.
Yep.
He's got a beautiful shop here. It's 40 by 60 with a 16-foot ceiling, and it took you 5 years to get this built.
Sure. Yep.
If you could build it again, how much bigger would it be?
Boy, it's a good size.
It's a
but
good size.
it would be nice to have some like storage, more storage.
Multiple
So,
projects.
yeah.
That sort of thing.
Yeah.
But you got some great tools in here. Show us some of these things. You showed us that big planer. It's scary. All right. You showed us a funny little Japanese square, which is new to me. Show us some of the other things that are dedicated specifically to timber frame that you've got to have.
So yeah, it's just some of the basic tools. I mean, mallet, chisel. Those are a mismatch, but that's okay.
Sure.
Hand saws.
And those Japanese pull saws really are the best for this work.
That's what I like. I'm not
like
saying anything's the best.
Right.
It's just
yeah,
what I'm
smart.
comfortable using.
Smart.
Yeah.
For you, these are the
Yeah.
tool.
It's kind of a workhorse
Yeah.
as far as, especially with the irregular stuff.
Yeah.
Planes, hand planes, rabbiting planes.
So this is a Japanese style plane. Mm-hmm. Wow.
Yeah, this is a workhorse as far as mortises go. It's a mortising machine. just a plunge style, drops down.
Okay, just a second. Is that carbide? That is carbide, isn't it? Is that carbide?
Yeah, it's a bugger to sharpen.
I'll bet. Wow. That'll remove some material, won't it?
Yeah, and it's, so, I mean, that's your basic motion on that thing. And
Got vertical stops. Wow. Pretty aggressive clamps. I mean, when you're going in, it stays put, right?
yeah, it's got a little bit of, push up. And there's you use it like sideways too to be more efficient.
Oh, yes.
So the clamp helps with that. Yeah, that's just kind of a standard mortising.
And
Makita version.
these are readily available, or is this a special? How do you find something like that if you're in the market for it?
Boy, you can actually buy one of these from Oregon Tool
What?
in Roseburg. They
Really?
have one.
Wow.
But you might get it off the internet, or there's some Timberframe tool suppliers like Timberwolf Tools out there as well.
Okay. Yeah.
And like for this housing, that's the way to go about that.
Right.
And then most guys would kind of create a larger plate. That way when you're working close to the edge, or you're doing a whole joint like this, you're not falling in.
You put a straight edge on here someplace, or a guide bearing on a bush on a bit or something?
You can do that. These I just do by hand.
Really?
I just pre-cut this and
Okay.
sight it in, and
Yeah,
then
yeah,
finish
yeah.
with a chisel.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, if I was doing a bunch
So you
of
just
these,
hog out the big material and then chisel to the line.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
yeah, and a lot of stuff you're getting close to the line and you're using the chisel to clean it up for more accuracy.
Glorious. So Matt, I mean, I recognize these. You got dust collection and nice big planer. Nice.
Sure. Yeah,
Delta,
these are just basic woodworking tools.
Yeah, just tools.
Planer, joiner, bandsaw.
You're happy with this Grizzly? Grizzly?
Yeah, it works good.
It does the work.
I mean, sure, it would be nice to have a larger one to do bigger timbers, but
Yeah, but
all the tools in the shop are all on wheels, so they can be pulled in and pulled out.
so smart. So as I was picking his brain about laying this stuff out, he made the comment that he uses templates, door skins, we'll show you a stack of them, and story poles. Why are story poles better? Why do you like them?
Boy, like I said, I won't say one thing's better.
For
but
you.
For me, a story pole is a really helpful tool in the sense that it allows me to keep my mind clear. So when I do a story pole, it'll have all the relevant marks of a let's say this post, it'll have all the joinery marked on it.
Okay.
And I
okay.
do that once in the morning when my head is clear
Yes.
and I get it all right. And
Yes.
and then I can have somebody check it, or I can check myself.
Yes.
And then I don't worry about the layout after that.
No tape measure mistakes.
Yeah, there's no tape measure mistakes.
Cool.
And so that's why they're helpful for me.
So I have a friend, Dave Van Slyke, Kenny's friend also, and he uses story poles in his cabinet work for the same reason. He said the same thing. Once you have the story pole, you can stop thinking about those mistakes
Yeah.
that otherwise could cost you big dollars.
Sure. Yeah.
Cool.
And for me, it's really critical to do your complicated layout in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
Your head's clear. It's the time to do it. So.
Yeah, cool. So we have an interesting dichotomy here. We have an ancient Japanese Chona?
Chona.
Chona.
Correct, yeah.
All right. It's an adze with a funny handle, all right? And we have Japanese wood slicks, and the Japanese name for that is?
This
wood
is
slick.
a Western style slick,
wood-
but it's
okay.
a slick. Yeah.
But it's, old hand tools right next to a CNC routing table. Talk to us about this in your shop.
Yeah. So, the CNC machine was custom built for me by my brother-in-law.
Oh,
And he does it as a hobby, and he's just kind of a redneck savant.
yeah, yeah.
He builds them, programs them, does the whole deal. And this in particular was built for doing large pieces. So like
Flattening slabs.
flattening slabs, or like even that tie beam, for example.
Sure.
We could flatten something like that. And
Throw
make
that
it
oak
planar.
tie beam on there after it's hewn, and then take it right down
Yeah.
over time.
Yeah, and we can get large curved, interesting pieces into plane.
Yeah,
And
cool.
so that's its main function.
Cool. Time saver deluxe.
Yeah, and it could evolve into other things as well.
Sure, who knows?
We're just
So that's one of the things, Brady and I were talking about this in a video recently. Wherever we start out in on a construction path, we have no idea where we're going to end up on that construction path, right?
yeah.
So 2 things I want to throw out for these people. You've been a serious surfer. You've spent more than your share of time in the curl, right?
that's fair.
So how long did you surf seriously?
You know, I had a period between 20 and 28 where that's all I wanted to do.
Wow, endless summer.
Traveled the world and yeah, so.
Holy smokes. I bet you got shark stories. Have you got shark stories?
Just nothing too major.
All right,
yeah.
that'll be another video.
Yeah, there you go.
All right. So if you haven't already picked up on it, those plans that we showed you, that this project is being constructed for, are for a building to replace an aged out shelter at the Glide Educational Forest. It is about, 50 miles from here now, maybe, something like
Sure.
that.
Yep.
Okay? It's where I grew up. It was under the province of the Glide School District. I was one of the first classes that went down there and cleared the brush and aggravated poor John Fine, our ag teacher. But it's a nice facility. And this nice building is going to go with that nice facility. And this man and some of his friends are making that happen. And in conjunction with that, tell us about the course. Tell us
Yeah.
about the teaching opportunity.
Yeah, well, so part of the forest is an education forest, and OSU's administration is education-based.
Oregon State University.
Yeah, and so with this frame we're doing, we saw an opportunity to teach a workshop because we're doing things that aren't typically done, hewing, natural curves, scribing, and so we're putting together a workshop with this frame. Yeah.
Okay. And it's available to you or anyone else you know who wants some hands-on timber frame experience and education with a group of people who really know in a nice setting for a worthwhile cause. And that's coming up soon. The dates on that will be in the notes. Be sure to look at them. Be sure to contemplate going and learning from Matt, because I have learned one thing, more than one thing. I've learned that this guy is well-spoken. He has a balanced approach to something that some people can go right off the deep end on. And I ought to be there. I might come up and get a look at what's going on.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
And maybe I'll see you there. Thanks for watching Essential Craftsman, and keep up the good work.